Well, hello, this is Pastor Henry Green, and welcome to Faith in Focus. I'm always excited to have a few moments to come to you directly and kind of share with you my heart. Now, we designated March as Multiplication March. It's also Momentum March. Now, Emmaus, we had been doing a really good job with the mandate God had given us, which was gather the people and possess the land. Now, the last few weeks, we took our foot off the pedal some, and we've slowed down, and our numbers have backed down. And so I want to encourage you to stay faithful, keep your foot to the metal, make sure you're inviting people, and not just because we have some ego about numbers. We know what we share here at Emmaus changes lives. We get the testimonies so many times from even people that have been in church all their lives and say, nobody has ever taught me this way. We see the fruits in people's lives. I remember once we were involved in a giveaway, and where we were giving away food, and we had like 75 vouchers, and we needed more to help people with food during the holiday. And then a mere 2 years later, they only gave us 25, and we gave them 13 back because people had applied the principles that we taught, and their lives had dramatically changed. And so I know you know some people that are not quite where God wants them to be. Make sure you are inviting them to be in the house at Emmaus. I promise you, they will thank you and they will appreciate you. So let's keep our foot on the pedal. Let's create some momentum and multiplication in March by making sure the house of God is full. Number 2, from our vision night, we talked about making sure that we are being faithful in our giving. God asked us for 10%. We talked about that tithing. And you know, a lot of things we do at Emmaus, we are numbers driven. We do what we call SMART goals, those goals where you set numbers and we measure ourselves against those numbers on how we're doing. And sometimes we'll say, well, 50% here, 30% there, something like, but on tithing, we cannot back off that number. We set our goal at 100% tithing. Here's why. Because if you are not a tither, then you are a God robber. And how do we say it's okay for 20%, 30%, 40% of our people to be God robbers? And so this is an area where we push for 100% of our people being tithers. Now, our church has a big call on us. And if everybody was tithing, we could easily do what God is calling us to do. Now, because so many are not tithing, that means we have to compromise in places on ministry because we are not in the financial place to do what God is calling us to do. So I really want to encourage you once again to be faithful in your tithing. Now, this is a place where the world has worked overtime to try to talk us out of our sacred operating system. That's a term that Lady Nicole gave us about 3 or 4 years ago in a message that I just can't let go of. This is the way God has designed us to operate. This is our operating system. He says, give, and I'll give it back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. In other words, as you give, that primes the pump for God to give you even more. Look, I know so many of you have great hearts, and if you had more, you would do more. But until you come out of the category of a God robber, you will not do better financially. So make sure you're being faithful in your tithe. And I've talked to so many people that said not only do they tithe, they make it the first fruit. That is the very first thing they do when they get paid. They don't buy groceries, they don't pay car bills. They sow into the Lord as a first fruit offering. So I'm asking you to be faithful over that. And on Vision Night, we talked about the offering. Now, the offering is not legislated by the Bible. It is based on a relationship. Our suggestion to you is to make your offering at least 3%. Now, Lady Nicole and I'm not bragging, I am just sharing you, We are big givers. A lot of times we have given 10, 50, we've given way more in offering than we give in tithe. But that's because we understand we're working on something. And as we give, God gives back to us. Now, next Sunday is also our Super Seed Sunday. That is a time where we give over and above into the Lord, kind of like an offering that is saying to God, I trust you. Now I'm going to have them flash the different giving points on the screen, but you hear God. This is where we're trying to get you to. Not to operate as a robot, but to hear what God is saying to you. Nothing is more important in this season than learning how to get a revelation from God. When Peter got the revelation from God on who Jesus was, it shocked Jesus. Jesus said, "Oh my God, flesh and blood did not reveal this to you." And what he was saying, and then he says, "And upon this rock I build my church." What is that rock? It wasn't Peter, even though Peter had a connotation of rock. The rock he was building his church on is the rock of revelation. So hear God, hear what God is calling you to in your giving. Be obedient to that and watch your world explode. Well, Emmaus, let's keep our pedal to the metal. Let's keep multiplying. God has something amazing for us. I'll close with this. Lady Nicole and I have been talking, and we serve an amazing, spectacular God. And we are trusting God for the spectacular. As we develop our faith and live in the Spirit, we do not have to live in the mundane. God wants to do something absolutely amazing in your life, something that will blow your mind, something that will energize you, something that will take you to the next level. So trust God for the miraculous and know I love you and I love just being your pastor.